Hello and welcome back. In the last section we brought up the catalog page here, which is a very preliminary version of that, and it is allowed to be seen on our routes right now, and it has the footer and the head bar. Okay, and the next step is to take it a notch above and then look at what we can do. Super. So let's look at our reference app right now and see what we can actually go ahead and do. So this is the reference app or the browse catalog, right, page, and it has a header here, which is a title essentially, and then of course it has a carousel, a kind of a slideshow, if you will, of the different dish images, right? Right now it's not clickable, it's just a kind of a slideshow. You can actually move back and forth, and these are all again static images that are essentially coming in from the file system. Okay, these are not necessarily dynamic images based on the day of the week or something like that. That's something that could be thought about in the future, but currently these are all static images. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and build this particular feature and bring up a carousel, all right, as our next task. Okay, let's get started. Okay, the first thing that we saw was that we need a title here, and the title is gonna be, I think, savor our delicacies. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Say savor. So there we go, and we have it down there. And the next thing we want to do is we want to define a section for the catalog itself, right? So let's see how we can go about that. Okay, so the first thing that we can do is we're going to have a section here, and I think we also need to get rid of this stuff here. Okay, let's get rid of the H2. Oops. And also go ahead and get rid of the sidebar. Okay, that's better. So what we're going to do is we'll have a section here. This is going to be a section. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and close this section. And this is going to be having a class name, container. Okay, mind you, it's container, not container fluid. Okay, so container, and then we'll give a margin tag of 4 units. Okay, let's say empty -4. What it does, apparently it's not essentially doing anything. Let's go ahead and refresh this. Yep, there we go. We have our stuff in here, and we also want to change this color. I think we'll look at it as we go along, but this is not the right color that we want to do. We have some of the color reserved for this title here. So the next thing that we want to do is we're going to be using the flexbox system of Bootstrap, which means we'll be using the rows and columns. Essentially, we'll be dividing the entire landscape into rows, and in each row we'll have 12 columns, and we'll have to decide how we'll utilize or leverage those 12 columns. Okay, so the first thing is I'm going to have a first row, which is going to have essentially this particular slideshow, and for that I'm going to go in here. I'll say this is I'm going to want a div that is going to be a row, and that's going to be having a justify content of center. Super. And let's see. All right, we got a div in here. Okay, and inside this I'm going to have a column here, say of column 8. All right, let's say this is going to be call hyphen. This is going to be okay, I'll say call MD8, because from MD to all the way up to XL, which is extra large, it's going to have 8 columns, and then it'll have call 12 from MD and below. Okay, so let's go ahead and put that in. Yep, that's the one. Let's go ahead and save that. Don't see any changes. We won't. So how do we go about doing the carousel? If we go to the Bootstrap styling here, so let's search for Bootstrap carousel here, and there we go, carousel Bootstrap. We have something in here, so there is a built-in example that we can use. Okay, so something like this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a React version of the Bootstrap carousel. So what I mean by that, okay, there's actually a npm package called React Bootstrap. Let's take a quick look at that. React-Bootstrap. Yeah, that's a layer on top of the Bootstrap components, right? So it's a React, it provides us a variation of Bootstrap for components built with React. Let's go ahead and take a look at that in terms of how we can do that. I actually got a kind of sample from the web in terms of how we can go about that. So let's go ahead and create that class here. And I actually looked it up on the internet and then found it there. So I'll go inside of components and create a new, it has to be a new folder, not a new file. So over here, I'm going to create a new folder, say UI, and because this is going to be a UI kind of component, nothing very dramatic that's happening in here, presentational in nature. And let's go ahead and say I'm going to create another folder in here. I'll call it Slideshow. This is actually a Carousel, but I'm going to go ahead and call it Slideshow for the purposes of our exercise. I'm going to go inside here and say I'm going to create the slideshow component, okay? Say slideshow.js. Okay, super. And as before, I'll use the RAFC shorthand to generate the code for us, all right? And in here, what I'm going to say is I'll define the arrow function that says render slideshow. Alright, super. And this is gonna be an arrow function that returns something here. Okay, return something, and that return something is what we have to essentially look at. I'm gonna go ahead and copy that stuff from another place. Okay, so let's say first thing is I'm gonna do a few imports here. So I need a few images that are going to be part of the slideshow. So I'm going to say, go ahead and import these things, Control B to collapse the sidebar. Sorry about that. I also need to install a couple of things here, actually, which is the React-Bootstrap itself, right? So let's go ahead and split this terminal. I'm going to maximize it, and I'm going to say npm I React-Bootstrap. Okay, super. This is going to take a while, so I'm going to take a quick pause here and come back once it's done. Alright, looks like that's done. I'm going to exit out of this PowerShell window. Okay, and what next? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I'm going to import the Carousel component. Component from, and that's going to be React-Bootstrap. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so hopefully that's looking good there. Hopefully it's not breaking our code in any shape or form. Yeah, we are good here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and return the Carousel. Oh, it's actually C-A-R-O-U. It's not C. Missed the U there. Okay, so let's come back to the actual Carousel itself. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this particular path. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and copy this stuff in here in a moment. Let me take a quick let's have a quick brisk look at it. So essentially this is a React component for the Bootstrap Carousel, and it takes in a few props and also the styling, right? So this is something that I picked up from online, so nothing very special about it. So it has a few source here in terms of image and image 1, image 2, which already have put it up here. So we have everything in place here. We have some custom styling as well, which is in line, and that should take care of our stuff in here. So what we can do is we can actually go ahead and save this, and after saving this we can import this in our, what happened, it didn't save, should have saved. Okay, it did now. I'll go back to the catalog and import this particular component. Import, oops, wrong place. Okay, import slideshow from. Okay, that was pretty fast. I did not realize that was really smart from the editor. Pretty much discovered the path there. Wasn't expecting that. Anyway, it's compiling right now. Oh, it's failed. Looks like it's not able to find that stuff there. Burger.jpg. So which means we have some issues here. Okay, it could be a path issue. Okay, let's see. So pretty certain it has to be another level above. Let's say another level above. Okay, there we go. Assets and images. Yeah, images. We were a little solid here, so I'm not sure if solid is actually present. Okay. Yeah, there we go. We have solid.jpg. All right. So we need to make the appropriate changes for this one as well. One level above, another level above. Okay, so we should be good in here right now. Let's see. Slideshow is defined but never used. Okay, we will assign a variable but never used. Okay, let's go ahead and use render slideshow. Let me collapse this. And in here, I'll get rid of the div with a Control D and call the render slideshow inside of render slideshow inside of the flower braces. Okay, all right, super. So we have some issue here. Okay, this is some typo. All right, let me put in the separation here. This should be good enough this time around. Okay, and there is a warning here. Slideshow is not used, but it's defined. That's in catalog.js. Let's go ahead and use that in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call the slideshow in this particular column. Okay, so let's go ahead and call this. And before that, I'm going to essentially go over here. Okay, so let me go ahead and invoke the slideshow component. All right, I hope that should do it for us. Okay, fingers crossed. Let's save this. All right, okay, we have some the basic version of this one right now. Okay, so it is having some kind of width and height. Okay, let's see if we can do something in here. Can we get in some additional styling for this one? Because it ultimately has to look like this. Oh, okay, I think it's already looking like that. All right, I think it's changed here. Super. Okay, I think the problem is only with this image right now. I think there is a problem with this particular image. I don't know why it's actually showing the image, one of the images in this way. Something that we need to look into for sure. Okay, not a problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to have some more styling here. So essentially inside of render slideshow, we have something like carousel -inner, and we want to go ahead and take that. So essentially I want a white border around this image. Okay, and to do that, let's see what we can do here. So I'll go here. So there is something like carousel inner here, and I want to get hold of that and put some styling around that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Back to our editor. Inside of slideshow folder, I'm going to create another file here for the styling, and I'm going to call it slideshow.css. Okay, and as we discussed before, I'll catch hold of the carousel inner, and that's going to be carousel -inner. Okay, and that's going to have a border now. Let's give it a border. Let's say 5px. All right, that's going to be solid, and it's going to be white. Where -primary -white. Okay, super. Let's see if it actually gives it. Apparently we didn't get it because of the fact that we are not referring it here. Quite likely. Let's import the slideshow.css here. Import slideshow CSS. Super. Yep, we do get a border in here. Okay, maybe we can make it a little thicker. Could be interesting. So let's give it 10px instead. Yeah, I think that's looking much better in my opinion. I think much closer to what we have in the reference app. Okay, and also I want to give it a border radius. Right, it's looking slightly edgy here on these sides. So let's say border -radius. Let's go with 10px. Oops, 10px. Yep, that's looking nice. So the only thing that we have right now, only issue that we have right now is the fact that this one is actually interestingly extended. It's actually very small. So that's something that we need to look at. So we have our Carousel, which is essentially displaying our menu, the dishes on our menu. This is looking good right now. Probably we can take a break here, take a pause, and come back and do the next steps. The next steps will actually involve a bit of work on the API side. So we'll essentially shift focus to the API design and also integration with Mongo, okay, before we actually come back to the UI side and then integrate with the APIs. Okay, so let's take a pause here. We'll come back and we will be working on Node.js and Express libraries. Okay, Node.js runtime and Express library. So let's go ahead and do that.